I would love to bring on the stage Achilles Georgi, Head of Data and AI Innovation. You saw him on the opening panel for MOL. And he's going to be talking about AI-powered flexibility in problem solving. So round of applause, please, for Achilles. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back. Oh, good. Let's start. We discussed in the panel before about problem solving. So how we apply AI in problem solving, how we can really become flexible in problem solving. I wrote a series of articles of this. Obviously, in 15 minutes, I can bring you only the essence, although that the timing it says 10 minutes, but I have 15. But I will do the impossible possible to show you the essence of it via a metaphoric story. I always like to bring stories. I bring my academic hat to show you, to bring you insights of this. At the end of the presentation, I will share with you also the two things that AI will never be able to replace. Okay, so bear with me. So as we discussed in the panel, and this is my motto, this is where we finished my presentation last year, AI is not the ketchup you need to throw on everything. So it will not solve the problems by itself unless you understand how and what type of problems you have and what type of technology you need to apply for each of them. And this is where I will walk you through on 4 stages. What is a problem by itself? In most of the cases, a problem is a gap between expectations and capabilities, okay? So this is the biggest challenge, how you close this gap. What are the process capabilities you have in place and what are the demands the business is bringing on stage? So how to close the gap, and we have different type of deviations from the standard. So I brought you 2 pictures here. So one is when we have the customer demands is continuously changing. So it's going up and down. It's very hard to predict, and your capabilities are reasonably stable. So you have a good level of delivery, but still you are not able to deliver what the business is expecting from you. This is also a gap. Sometimes we think that we are good enough, we are delivering something, but still we are delivering a gap. Because sometimes we are underperformer, otherwise other times we go above. And the opposite is obvious. This is Muri. When we have, let's say, the process capabilities are hectic, so we cannot predict, we cannot standardize it, and although that the business demands are more stable in a sense. Who has heard about the Mura and Muri? I thought it's more people we have heard. So, so Lean defines 4 types of problems. Have you heard about these problems? So the same people probably will raise the same hand because it's in the same storyline. So we have 4 types of problems. Let me show you this. So you have a current state of operation. Problem 1 is troubleshooting when your deviation is huge. So something is false and it's kind of collapsed, so we need to act immediately. So it's type 1. Type 2 is that you continuously have a small gap from the expectations, but you don't know what it is. But there are other 2 types of problems when you want to go above. So how you can define a new target condition, or even in the best case, how to define the next new standard because the business expectation growing so high. So these are the 4 types of problem solving, which I walk you through, but via metaphor. Let's imagine a headache. Decision makers have headaches when the problem appears. That's not the root cause of the problem, obviously. So when you have a headache, in type 1, headache appears, you take a pill, you go on. This is troubleshooting. This is where you need different type of AI to help you. You need AI to match, for example, solutions, to make immediately recommendations for what kind of solution will apply without too much of thinking, because our ultimate goal is to get back to normal state as soon as possible. Yeah? This is the most obvious, and most of the problem-solving solutions is here. The mistake we do, sometimes we apply very advanced AI technologies to solve that type of problem. And that's extremely expensive. Type 2, when you have a gap from standard, continuing the headache, for example, if your headache is coming back frequently, every Friday at 2 o'clock I have a headache, something is happening. So there is a circumstance. So it's not enough to take a pill, because after a while you may need to find out what is the problem, what is the root cause behind. So here AI can be you can use it for root cause, to pattern recognition, trend analysis, to see how trends are evolving. For example, with the headache, I have two carry-on equipment. For example, my ring can sometimes says, do you have a headache? Because your symptoms, your trends, your data, personal data, shows that you might have a headache, or I have at home an equipment like this. Who has that? Anybody has a Netatmo? Measures the CO2 level, and if it goes above 2000 and constantly, you will have a headache. So it makes an alert, just open the window. Sometimes when you have a headache, you just need oxygen. You don't need more. You don't need to take a pill. Just go out, take some oxygen, yes? And ultimately, you don't need to step in the computer tomography to see if you have a brain tumor. Because brain tumor also causes headache, but whenever you have a headache, it's not that you jump in, okay, let's do a CT whether my brain is clean. This is what we do, guys. So it's extremely expensive just to turn on the machine to check if your headache is because of your lack of oxygen. And this is a challenge we need to close. Type 3 is when we need to go above stable. And here comes digital twin, for example. So this is that we want to improve our condition. We want to be better. How to improve over my health? So not to have headaches. So to live better and so on. So here AI can bring you another dimension. In business, we use digital twins to experiment, to find new areas how we can improve the existing way of operation and maybe increase a bit the standard, getting closer to the needs of the business. But we have also problems with that. So I'm sure you have seen such a diagram before when we have a digital copy of the way how we do our business. The second level is when we do a digital shadow, meaning that we have the physical object and we can digitalize it, but still don't let AI to take automatic decisions. Ultimately, maybe we will reach somewhere to a point where we let AI to take the decisions, so to have a digital twin, but also putting the decision in the flow. What is the challenge? And I think you touched it very well in the morning presentation. If we don't have good enough data, it's very hard to reach on level 3. So let's get back to the headache. If I could have a digital copy of myself, I could identify a lot of things. I'm sure you all like Star Trek. Have you seen Star Trek? It looks similar. It makes a digital copy of yourself. Oh, you have a headache. Oh, great, I know. But if you don't have good enough data, then you just create a digital shadow. When you have a digital shadow, you can still take some good decisions. Oh, it's a male, probably around 30, but I don't have any other more insights. So this is the challenge. And if you don't have good enough data, so AI trained on bad data can help us take confidently wrong decisions. And this is the ultimate challenge I see on daily basis, that this is the outcome. I'm 80% sure that this is the outcome the decision you need to take. It's even worse than before, because before we had binary. It was yes or no. Now we have 80% confidence on an AI trained on wrong data that we will be taking wrong decision. And this is probably when they say that a lot of projects fail, this is the reason. And I go back to the first presentation you had in the morning. Yes, we don't have good enough data. We will be confident in taking wrong decisions. Type 4 is open-ended. So we can use AI for exploration. This is the discovery part, meaning that how we can become better, how we can reinvent ourselves, maybe to a different layer. Okay, so I have 2 timers. That's a confidently wrong decision I can take. Which one should I follow? Great. So it means that you understand the circumstances, you have insights, and you involve AI in the exploration phase. It's extremely hard because technology is there. It's ready to help us discover new areas. And I give you an example, again, with health, going back to our headache. Traditionally, we have kind of 2 types of medical universities, let's say universes. We have the Western and Eastern type. And usually, people who are believing in one, they don't cross the road on the other side. Meaning, if you have a headache, if you have a problem, depends on which doctor you go, you get a totally different approach. This is how we do in business as well, expertise and all the things. So we stuck with our closed mind. So we stuck with our mindset. How we can open the Pandora box by combining things on a multiple level. AI doesn't have biases and doesn't really care. So if you feed all data, if you share all insights with AI, can take you to new areas, to unexplored steps and fields, also in the health, but also within our business. Because if you use AI for discovering new solutions, new ways of doing things, reinventing the way how we are doing things, that's a very good tool or to augment our capabilities to reach to that level. And that's what I say, this is a level 4. So problem solving is always about gap. So how we can introduce AI is that we need to flatten or adjust the curve to the business expectations. And this is when I call flexibility. If you learn how to use the tools properly, then by knowing which type of problem you have, you can use a specific type of AI to help you reach to that goal. So you mean if the business has a very hectic expectation, then our capabilities should be aligned to that. Not more, not less, as close as possible to the expectations, because this is a cost-optimal level. Also, if this is stable, then you can relax. I even named this approach because you remember it's Mura and Muri, that was the original thread, so it's an A and an I, why don't we call it Murai? So Murai is the AI-powered flexibility, that the capability to take us on the level how to get as close as possible to the business expectations. In the articles, I even wrote some examples how we take this through. I think this is the future where we are heading. If you find a good balance between these things, then we will be delivering value, because I will not spend money on unused capabilities. So things start from the first point. If you don't know what type of problem you are solving, you definitely go on wrong track. Boys, if you wear a shirt, you tie up the first button, you will only realize if you have done something wrong during the last one. Yes, this is the case. So if you don't know, if you don't have a clear problem definition, what problem you want to solve, you are already on wrong track. The second level, if you don't have good enough data, you are already going further to the wrong track, and then AI-powered flexibility will not be able to help, so you will not be taking better decisions. So definitely you need to stay on the right on, yes, this is left for you, right for me, left side of the road. On the other side, you will be spending a lot of money on unnecessary things. So if your data is not good enough, then instead of solving problems, you will just create new problems for yourself, and then you will blame AI that AI doesn't bring value. It's not AI that doing wrong decisions, it's us that we are not knowing where to use and what kind of AI to use there. As I promised, there are two things that the AI will never be able to replace in problem solving. And these are these. So if something needs to move, it doesn't move, then you need to use WD-40, definitely works. And the opposite, you need a duct tape. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.